So let's pretend I live at my house. I'm like, okay, I don't agree with the rules of society. On my house is no longer subject to the rules of Wisconsin, the rules of the rules of my county, the rules of my city, or the rules of the U.S. It's its own state now. Think that's
It's its own state.
you think that's something people should be able to do? I mean, this should check out completely under your system, correct? Or likely to replace Native workers, reduce wages, or reduce like wages over the long term. Like I've just like I would need like C studies on this, like to
Oh,
convince me.
okay. I'm doing this all off my phone. If I was on my computer, this would make it easier. You can use my laptop if you want. No, you don't have my sources saved. Oh, okay. Construction workers and it's okay. So first things first, are you okay with the national immigration form? This is going to be the immigration of construction workers in the United States.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. First, we can be able to look at immigration and construction workers in the United States. This is going to be typically, 1 second, let me make sure this is the right one. I don't want to say this. Yeah, okay, never mind. Don't look at that one because this is talking about only immigrants. This isn't talking about illegal immigrants that have been caught doing immoral acts. The pearls are undocumented. Okay, here. So we can look at the state of fucking Michigan, and this is going to be the pearls of undocumented construction workers in the United States. The description and details. The construction industrial in the United States reflects on immigration work, particularly undocumented immigrants. These workers are desperately needed to fill 500,000 spots. Worker shortage in construction, yet they face several challenges of economic exploitation. So first, it's going to be the exploitation, which as a libertarian I have a problem with, because if like you're a consenting party and someone is misleading you by
Okay, but
information, you can't.
this I think is purely a virtue signal. I'm gonna be honest, because because if the argument is they should be going is we should deport them because they're suffering economic harm, like there's no like then you're essentially making the argument they're better off back in Venezuela, which is I think just like blatantly
What?
ridiculous.
No, like my argument, if I wanted to go with, is we don't have a causal obligation to them. Why should we keep them here in the first place? I typically go off of philosophy. But if we're talking about the situation that's applicable, if we're talking about 500,000 workers, if they're actively doing this under the table, which would you agree that most illegal immigrants are working under the table jobs?
Probably.
Probably.
Yeah. Wait. I'm sorry. I'm just trying to link something here real quick.
Because how likely is it for them to work like let's just say, a lawyer
Yeah.
job?
Most likely. Yeah. For sure. I would say most likely.
Yeah, most likely. So if they're working under the table and let's just say Americans are actively
Wait. Can
wanting
you
to do this,
So okay, I just linked a Google my entire immigration research. If you can just
1 second.
if you can just scroll down to like the wages and labor section, it's on
Where did you post it at?
it's in the side chat. I posted it in wages and labor.
Okay. Wages and labor. Let me go off of
Yeah.
this one. You're not gonna like dox me because it says it needs my email to look at this.
Nope, this is not.
Oh,
This isn't. This is just a Google Drive. I use it to host the PDF.
okay. Yeah, no, I just wanted to fuck around because there are a lot of people that typically like to dox if you don't agree with that side. Any side, okay. What page is this?
It should be in the table of contents. It should be immigration and the economy, wages and labor, or
Immigration, human trafficking. 1 second. Immigration reform. The immigration reform, immigration of the National Act. 1 second. I'm trying to find which one this is. Immigration border, United States. The impact on inflation, immigration on the economy is going to be page 47. Cool.
or page 42 on the Google Doc.
Huh?
It's page 42 on the Google Doc. I don't know what it is on the PDF.
It says 47.
Oh,
But when I go do it, it's the
oh wait, no,
impact.
that's
Yeah. It's 48 because it's immigration and the economy. It's 48,
Yeah.
but it says 47 there. Whatever. Immigration, however, the Mexican immigration has been increased by the blah 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 blah, Mexican equivalent to 2% of the Mexican GDP. This appears in the offset of the GDP due immigration, blah blah blah. In terms of the financial, we calculate. Um, Taken into consideration, the GDP is financial and mainly due to the positive impacts, which in the long run will promote growth and development. However, as the point out, before, more research is needed to understand how this housing immigration, both legal and illegal, raises the paper.
What section are you on right now?
I'm right now on the immigration bill for illegal and illegal raise wages.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, you're on the right section.
Yeah,
Is
I'm
this
just skimming through this real quick. Between the wages of Mexico, the impact of the impact for wages. Fuck, this might be a equation like that.
and then there's a fiscal impact and government one as well. And then
Yeah, I'm just gonna read it across the board, which I'm already gonna disagree with like certain actions, and I can get to that afterwards. The impact of the assuming the immobile of the paper in poor countries, then human capital where the brain drain is too high, lower than 30%. This case is many countries except for the smaller country states, when immigration rates exceed the threshold, the cost of the brain drain increase. The brain drain capital power reserves, the brain drain is not. Indeed, the paper finds the massive and cope. Let's see, encourage the okay human capital. Okay, okay, okay. Let's go over the first part of this. When it comes, the first part I would like to talk about is going to be the lower labor pool. If we're going to lower labor pool, would this affect how much you're actively getting paid for doing a job?
you mean the wages and labor?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Would this affect it if we're having illegal immigrants doing this?
Illegal immigrant and saturating the labor pool.
Yeah, would it affect the payment? So this should say American versus illegal immigrant. Who do you think is getting paid less?
Oh, probably the illegal immigrants getting paid less. Yeah.
Okay, would this affect the labor pool when it comes to the wages of it?
Would this affect the labor pool? Yeah, potentially. But okay. Well, here's how it works. Like illegal immigrants, you would agree in induced demand, right?
Define it real quick for me. I just want to make sure we're
Like
using the right
they need to buy
terminology.
goods, services, apartments, clothes, shoes, etc.
Uh, Housing, no, I would disagree with because if they're actively living in a location without paying like property tax or other taxation that people are
But
paying,
no,
this is going to be one of the situations.
they should just like pay somebody to like for rent though.
Wait, even paying someone for rent. That's why I brought you with the situation of like the immigration in the state of New York.
No, I just mean like they induce demand, as in like they put a demand on like these like goods and services.
Wait, if they're putting a demand on these, this is also taking the
This is
demand away
this.
from other
Okay,
people.
yeah, yeah, no. But can you just like, just like a yes or no answer to that real quick?
Yeah, I would disagree.
You would agree that they induce demand?
Yeah, they're going to cause it
Yeah.
more to
Okay.
be in
Cool. Yeah.
demand.
Yeah. You got. Okay. Cool. So
Yeah.
when there's an increase in demand, whenever there's a population increase, uh, businesses will open up, expand, and increase their supply in order to meet that new demand. In order to do that, they'll
Is that always the case though?
yeah, that's basically that. Otherwise, we would have seen like gigantic inflation after the baby boomers entered the labor market. So
Wait, there's inflation in the state of New York. We
no,
can
I
look
said
at the
gigantic
situation.
inflation. Otherwise, we would have seen gigantic inflation after the baby boomers stuff entered the labor market.
Okay. You
New
said,
York over the
wait, you
past
said baby boomers. I didn't hear
yes,
that.
when
You were cutting out for me.
there were 4 million baby boomers per year that were born. Remember
Hmm.
this? So when
Yep.
they entered the labor market, we just didn't see like a gigantic increase in inflation. Um, in New York over like the past 4 years has lost population, I'm pretty sure as well. I don't think I have that source directly on hand, but I'm pretty sure like places like New York, Wisconsin, California have all lost population over the past 4 years, and yet they've still struggled with like wages, housing, etc. So there's it's whatever forces are causing problems with this are completely outside of like illegal immigration. So I guess like the point is here they induce demand. Companies increase supply in order to meet this, and they create in order to increase supply they have to open up new job positions. So like that's what we like. At least that's my understanding from like all of the studies I've read of how like uh why illegal immigrants don't like suppress wages or like replace native workers. Another thing we have to consider too is that illegal immigrants also are much less educated typically than like a regular American, and so they're typically not competing in the same labor market as like normal Americans are.
Wait, blue collar jobs. If we're talking
Yeah,
like labor,
I
this
said
is gonna.
typically. Even like when
Uh,
even in blue
oh,
collar,
okay.
being able to speak English is a huge advantage. A huge advantage when getting hired. Being able to like do basic math, another huge advantage. So if there's a bunch of illegal immigrants, somebody needs to like be able to communicate with like higher managers, etc. So a lot of English speakers are a lot more likely to be choose for like managerial roles. I think the wages and labor studies uh, specifically did that the reason that there could be an increase in wages among native workers is because as illegal immigrants are brought in uh, as lower level employees, new managerial roles will open up above, and so there we need like native workers who can speak English and have like maybe slightly higher like like a high school diploma in order to like fill out those roles.
Okay, and I'm going back to the same situation when it comes to supply demand. Is there always supply in the first place? When it comes to like, let's just go with like the simple thing of jobs. Is there always going to be a supply of jobs?
I think the supply of jobs is just always going to be like proportional to the population for the most part.
Oh, okay, proportional. So when we're looking at like the lowest, like
Like
what was the lowest?
broadly, very
No,
broadly.
what was the lowest unemployment rate?
The lowest unemployment rate
Yeah,
was a 3.1%, 3 point something percent.
the lowest. I thought it was lower than that. I thought it was at like 1.2 at one point.
I think it was during COVID. It was at like 1.2. Yeah.
No, 1.2 is going to be where everyone has a job, like where
For
they don't have a job.
yeah, obviously, but like I'm pretty sure there's for I think there's reasons to which we do the employment rate doesn't usually get that low, and it's people who are just searching for jobs or have quit to go find a new one, etc. Or people you know, I don't think it really ever gets lower than like 3%.
1 second. Let's just see this real quick. The lowest, because I'm not going to say anything I don't know. I just want to make sure real quick. And in the U.S. Um, yeah, so the lowest unemployment rate in the U.S. 1 second. The lowest unemployment rate in the U.S. history. Okay, 1 second. Um, I just want to make sure. No, the lowest unemployment rate in the United States was going to be 2.3%. This was 1953.
Mm-hmm.
And just look at the population of this real
That's not good.
quick.
That's not good though. That like indicates labor shortage. That's bad.
Wait, wait. If we're talking about this is going to be very much. If we're saying labor shortage, or we would have to see what categories of the fields were open at that time. Was it more educated, or was it more on the labor shortage? Because if we're talking educated, that is still going to be a higher percentage. Then it would have to be the argument that more people should go to college, which I completely disagree with. Because if it's only blue collar jobs, then at that point
Sorry,
it
wait,
would
I'm
go
sorry.
against my
I
argument.
just want to like, I just want to like, I want to like recenter. Yeah, like overall, I mean, I think do I need more sources, or were the ones I provided like sufficient?
I have to actually look at them.
I
The
think
PDF.
I don't know. Okay, so you know, you see the little book thing next to all of our sources.
1 second, because the PDF that I clicked on and everything like that, it won't let me click on like the blue and stuff like that.
Wait, it won't let you to click on the blue links.
Yeah, it won't let me click on the blue links. If I click on it,
Okay, I might I am sharing my screen right now.
1 second, let me. close out of the PDF and go back into it and check it if it's just my side because I am on my phone. Because if it is on my side, then that's me. 1 second. Page 38, I said, right? Illegal immigrants. Yeah. Okay, cool. Pew Research. Okay, the shortest reads. Okay, now it's working. So yeah. Cool. Let me read. Uh, yeah, I would actually go through and read all of this.
I think we so there's a little like book next to each source. If you go down, that goes
Mhm.
to the annotated bibliography. I think that just gives a summary of the methodology. No, it does give a summary. I wrote it. What am I talking about? I should
The
know this.
book. Oh, 1 second. Let's see if it works because it's small on my side. So let's see if it actually works and takes me
Oh
to
wait,
the
no, it's.
exact.
Can you not click the book? Oh no, you can't.
It's not letting me.
No, you
Yeah,
can't. You
it's not
can't
letting me
click the
click
book.
the book.
Okay, well, if you want to look at my screen, I am sharing it. But
Yeah, I would have to go through all of this. Typically, I like going off of the situations and see if like it's going to be consistent in logic. 1 second,
well,
let me look at your screen. Um, yeah, click the book real quick.
oh wait, did I not fill this out yet? Oh, I'm sorry. I haven't gotten to getting the methodology down for this, for that section of
I
the
mean,
document. I'm sorry.
if you want to get
It's
like, I have no
it's
problem
kind of
if you want to act.
no. It's just kind of big. Sorry. It's
Okay,
just
I was going to say if you want to
there's
actually set up.
just I my bibliography is kind of lacking as of recent with the it's just growing out of control. I don't
I
know.
mean, if you would like to set up a real debate where we can do a one-on-one where you can actually have this, and it gives me time too.
I don't know where. I don't know where. But
I mean,
but
when would be a good day for you? And I we could set this up between like I know a lot of people that could host this for us.
okay. This uh would
Because
you
typically I typically go off of the philosophical aspect. If someone's able to
Oh,
cut the
okay. Do you
market,
want to just debate like the logic of this? Like we could do that
yeah,
probably right now. And then
yeah, that's
if you
what
want to have like a more
typically I like
unsourced
doing.
debate, we can do that later. But like if I am sourcing
Yeah,
anything, it is almost certainly in here. Just so you know, like
yeah,
if any
yeah.
claims are made, it's
No, typically this is why I kept asking you like the moral aspect because this is going to be the philosophy aspect of it.
I think the moral imperative is like pretty clear. I think like I mean this Hershey repeat is a Hershey repeat when the economy hurts like or I guess I think predictions were made that it could be something like 2008 financial recession kind of thing, or something even something like
But
more
what
like before.
obligation is it though?
That could what's the obligation? The obligation is to
The
the
obligation.
obligation is to increase the quality of life, or for American citizens as much as possible.
Wait, that's going to be subjective and that's going to be applicable to an emotional argument because if
Well,
we're talking the
I think
situation,
that's just a function of government. I think the function of government should I think the function of government should be to pass legislation that increases the quality of life for the majority of people,
yeah, I would completely
and enact policies that do
disagree.
so. Oh, you disagree
I would
with me?
disagree. Yeah,
Okay.
I would disagree that the option of the government is to protect private property. That's why I go with the NAP for like the
Well,
libertarian take. But
if you're a libertarian, I guess I could just probably just make this argument from your moral basis. Then, if I don't really feel like having to like defend mine entirely, so
yeah, like I have no problem with this. Typically go with the cause obligation. We haven't inherently caused you to be in the state of dependence, so we would be removing you from our private property.
okay. Well, I don't think our state, the state, isn't private property.
I would classify it as because if we're talking private property between the countries, this is going to be for one group of people versus someone else. This is going to be the same action as like homesteading.
Are you like an ANCAP or I'm sorry, I just want like what kind of
I'm more on the minimum government to be able to protect private property, and Cap wouldn't like completely agree with me. I
okay.
agree with like philosophy of like John Locke, some philosophy of John Locke, John Ben, and a few other libertarians.
Okay, yeah. So NAP, that's just that's a non-aggression pact.
Non-aggression principle, but
Yeah,
yeah,
yes, non-aggression principle.
yeah,
And I just want to like clarify, to be clear, it basically says that like it's in everybody's mutual interest to like not be aggressive towards one another. So therefore, people shouldn't be
or infringe upon private property that is not yours.
or infringe upon private property that is not yours. Okay, so I guess then my question for you is like, what's a more so is infringing upon private property inherently a morally bad action?
Yeah, I would count this as this would be a negative.
Do you
There's going to be a negative, a neutral, and a positive.
do you think do you think there are instances where people infringe upon private property and it's a neutral?
Yes.
Okay, well, I would say that this in this case, this is like on the macro scale, this is almost wholly neutral.
No, this wouldn't be neutral because the neutral action is going to be applicable to like abortion. If you consent to the initial action for me and my girlfriend that's laying next to me and she gets pregnant, this is going to be someone else coming into the private property, which we consented and knowledge for. This wouldn't be applicable.
Well, you're saying this is a moral bad. So
Yeah, this
so like
is
what so like what
yeah,
so is the account of harm just them entering the private property, or are you saying there's like
yeah.
a wider economic harm happening?
Wait, the harm in this situation is going to be them infringing upon our negative rights to our private property that we did not consent to. The NAP is going to be the non-aggression principle
Is
with them
this
infringing upon.
okay? Cool. So we live in a society. Okay, cool. So how big are you? So as a libertarian, how big are you gonna like the rule of law? I guess because this feels like a tangentially related to a rule of law argument.
Like define this for me.
So I guess the rule of law argument here would simply be that, so, I guess you could do some libertarian perspective on our property there on our private property as like a democracy, the United States, we have these set of rules. If you don't follow these set of rules, like the proper remedy shall be we should we shall punish you, or I guess it's not even a punishment. It's just the proper remedy should
Yeah,
you
it's
could be
going to
for
be the
breaking
arms
state law,
agreement,
and in
which
this case, it's deportation.
wait, it's going to be the arms agreement. It's going to be how we would enforce it, and yes, there would be laws.
Okay, so like you would agree like the proper remedy should like be carried out for an infraction of a law, and in this case they're in the United States without any form of lawful presence, and like the remedy is deportation.
Yeah, deportation.
Okay, cool. So like then like would you agree to be like a justifiable action to lock up every single American who's been in possession of marijuana just because they broke like a federal law? I think the punishment
No,
for
wait,
just
I have no problem with weed.
okay, no, I'm just
I have no
no,
problem with
no. I'm asking,
drugs.
would that be like a justifiable action? Like they've broken, like
No, it wouldn't
they're
be.
on our property as a democracy, or I guess as a property, we've decided that there are these like they're going to be these set of rules. They've broken this rule. Like is this is the proper remedy, which is 1 year prison time. Like could
No, wait, we would have a causal obligation to them, but when it comes to someone else that is outside of this, we wouldn't. And at the same time, drugs wouldn't be a good hypothetical for any libertarians because if they are a
no,
libertarian,
I'm
they
not
would have
asking
no
you. I'm not
problem.
asking if smoking
Yeah,
marijuana is a good or
yeah,
bad. I'm just simply asking like there's a obligation to uphold the rule of law, correct?
yeah. There's wait, the obligation for the situation of like the drugs or this, we would have a causal obligation to our American citizens or the people of this country where it's private property, but not the people that are coming into this.
Do you
So
think
if we're doing the action,
Do you think it's okay
if
not
we're
to
doing,
enforce? Do you think it's okay to like not enforce federal laws sometimes?
yeah, if the law is immoral.
Okay, so I guess we just both agree on that. So if the law is immoral, and immoral just means it's infringing on someone's private property.
Yeah, if it's
Okay, yeah.
infringing
So
upon like
yeah, this checks
if
out
it's
for you. This checks out.
yeah, if this is infringing upon someone like negative rights to private property inside of this society, which I already deemed United States as private property, which countries are counted as private property in my hypothetical, or in like the philosophy I'm going to go down, this is going to be the action where we would have an obligation to the people inside of it, not the people that are outside just trying to come in and take
Mm-hmm.
away from.
Well, if we're saying the United States is private property of the people of said
Mhm.
state, then if the people make rules governing the people in said state, then uh, couldn't you could you not justify any loss as it's just if the United States is just like one big house?
Um, yes and no, because if like everyone inside of the United States come up with something that was immoral, we would be able to go against this. And at the same time, if they come up with something moral, it would be justified. If this should say tomorrow we wake up and all of a sudden everyone agrees
Wait,
with slavery,
just a second. I think we're having a fundamental like ontological disagreement on like what property is.
yeah,
What is property to you?
there's going to be multiple classifications. There's going to be the contract, something that you self-govern, or at the same time, it's going to be something that you homesteaded.
Okay, do you think you own yourself?
Yes, I do.
Okay, how can you demonstrate this?
Yes, I can. I self-govern myself. No one can infringe upon me until I do immoral actions.
Okay, you self-govern yourself, and nobody can infringe upon me and do immoral actions. Could I not?
unless if they wanted,
Could somebody?
unless
Could
if they
somebody
wanted.
not? Somebody could force upon you actions by
Wait,
by
yeah,
power.
that's what
Correct?
I was getting to. So, and if someone tries forcing upon me, this would be the immoral action. Unless if I infringe upon someone else's negative rights to their private property, unless if I'm in a public location.
Okay. So is owning yourself just? I'm sorry. Is owning yourself just simply you self-governing?
Yeah, self-governing and owning yourself is going to be you agree, like you are able to be in control of your body, unless if like you can't give informed consent any action that is going to deem you impossible of being able to
Okay.
do this
What's
act.
self-government? Just
Self-government, you can do what you with your body how you see fit,
do with your body how you see fit.
and to the extent of like
Is that
infringing
okay? Wait, is
upon
that like a
someone.
rational actor can do with their body what they can see fit, or
Yeah, like someone that is rational. Like unless if we want to add in like autism, if someone isn't able to be rational or give to informed consent, then at this point it's going to be the obligation of the parents to make sure that the child is taken care of.
okay? Yeah. Let me just. Uh,
And if you want me to give you a situation where this is applicable, I can show you. Are you cold, beautiful? Okay. Here, grab the pillows. We'll move down here. We'll cover you over here. Yeah, we can go that way. What are you looking for?
okay. So someone who can govern themselves. Okay.
Yeah. This is going to be one of the core beliefs of like libertarian takes. Huh?
Okay. So why should we
Yeah.
actually wait? No, I don't. Okay. I guess I don't really. I really just don't. Do I just debate this normatively, or do I? Sorry, I'm just thinking about. I'm thinking if I should try to like, from your worldview, like make a justification for keeping them here, or instead just like ask you like meta ethically ground this. But that feels hypocritical since I don't think I could meta ethically ground my own worldview.
And then if you try doing it from my worldview, like it's not going to be fair for you because if you try going from my worldview, I've already said when it comes to self-government or at the same time with private property being applicable, we haven't caused them to be in a state of dependence. This is going to be one of my axioms too. Because the NAP is going to be one of my axioms, and when it comes to like when you're going to
Well,
have an
an
obligation,
axiom is just something that's self-evident. This is I don't.
yeah, oh wait, it's going to be self-evident, and at the same time, it's going to be the foundation of your argument. It's going to be the end
I
all.
don't think the NAP is self-evident though.
The non-aggression principle. So you believe that we should infringe upon people?
Yeah, I don't think that's self-evident.
Then at that point, we're going to have to argue what you
Like
define
like
as
if you like
self-evident.
it, okay, self-evident like something that would be self-evident like the shortest point between A and B is a straight line. That's self-evident.
Okay, wait, that's very unique how someone goes into this, which I have no problem with. Self-evident for you is going to be A, B is a straight line.
Well, I'm just that's an example.
Yeah, if we're saying that, then like it can be applicable in this situation of the NAP. The non-aggression principle is self-evident because no one's infringing upon each other.
I thought like okay, wait. My concept of what things are as self-evident is like if you're a mind in a vat, then like you could uh you could come to this or like this would be obvious. Like even if you had no interaction with society.
Wait, if you're reminded of that, no, I wasn't told that this is self-evident. Self-evidence is going to be something that's going to be applicable even if no one was there. Then
Okay,
at that
wait.
point,
So
there would,
self-evident is something without proof or reasoning. Okay, but
yeah,
I think you need to like give proof or reasoning for the NAP, correct?
yeah, the
Yeah. Okay.
non-aggression
So it wouldn't
principle.
be an axiom. Yeah. No. This would be like this is like as much as I would just like to say that like happiness is like the axiom of utilitarianism. Like um if we're like using a very broad sense of like the word axiom, sure, but like not really, kind of.
Yeah, I'm using the broad term, unless if we want to be like into antics, which like we've been both good faith during this conversation slash debate. That's why I was going with
Okay.
just
So
axiom.
axiom works. That's fine.
Yeah, Yeah, we're not like how most
Okay.
TikTok debates are going right now.
Yeah.
We're
Okay.
like,
So
oh well, this is not a like no, I'm being good faith with you, you're being good faith with me. This is going to be like the axiom. It's going to be like the broad term.
okay. So I guess we'll just get into it. So like I guess are you are cool with hypotheticals or
Yeah, I'm cool with hypotheticals as long as you're cool with like outrageous hypotheticals too.
sure? I'm fine.
Okay.
Um, so like I guess hypothetically, if somebody so, geez, what do I say? Okay, yeah. Hypothetically, would it be okay for somebody to like dump a bunch of toxic waste onto their own property, which would then, or like just would it be okay for like the United States just like start dumping nuclear waste into the Rio Grande and then just like poison all of Mexico?
Uh,
Just because it's
so if
cheaper.
we're talking,
Would that be like a moral
yeah,
debate
if we're
or
wait, if we're
neutral
talking,
action? Sorry.
wait, yeah, if we're talking like United States dumping nuclear waste, are we doing this on our private property, or are we doing this
No,
in
it's on
another private property?
our private property into the Rio Grande, unless you're saying that the Rio Grande is public. But
Yeah, I would say that the Rio Grande is going to be a public as long as it's going into someone else's private property. If you do something upstream, that's going to be affecting someone else's private property.
okay, so anything you do upstream that affects that affects somebody's private property, you would say is bad.
Yeah. So like if I upstream, let's just say hypothetically, I own a house up the like up on the hill and the water runs down into your house. If I block off that house, like water to be able to go down into your property, this is going to be affecting your private property. And at the same time, this is affecting something that you didn't get your informed consent to. And at the same time, me.
Okay, like if a neighbor plays really loud music 24/7, like would you say like that's a moral bad?
I would say, yeah,
Because
this is going to be
okay,
affecting it.
so are the air so the airwaves are public?
Yeah, I would just say that when it comes to like the airways, yeah,
Okay,
this is going to be
so if
another
the airways are
applicable.
so things are public, we can make regulations around. I'm assuming that that's your
Yeah, it can be regulated when it comes to the action inside of it.
okay.
You cannot regulate someone else's private property.
Okay, you cannot regulate someone else's private property. Things that are public, we can make
So
regulations
kind
around.
of like, yeah, so when it comes down to like me putting a bear trap on my private property, right? If I put this on my private property, this isn't going to affect anyone downstream. This is going to be just me being able to do this action. If I'm doing something that's going to affect other people's private property downstream, this is going to be the immoral act.
Okay. Oh, Hex, how's it going? This is a libertarian debate,
All right.
immigration debate. Oh my God!
Rundown
Wait.
real quick.
Okay. Rundown. Yeah. We got into we were going to go into wages and labor debate, but he would have to like review all my sources, so we're going to philosophical debate about like
Yeah, which
wage.
if we want to do like the field of sources, then at that point it would give me time to actually like,
Basically, this is a libertarian and NAP type guy who's saying that we have a like moral. Wait, sorry, NAP type guy that's saying that illegal immigrants have infringed on the United States, and the United States is property. So like the country itself
yeah,
is property, and
Hmm.
so therefore we should deport them. Like, what's your any
we
comments?
don't have a causal obligation to them.
Yeah, any question or comments?
Nope.
No. Okay.
Can spectate for now.
Okay, yeah. So if it's going to affect someone downstream, then at this point it's going to be an immoral action because you're infringing upon someone else's negative rights to their private property. So if I start, let's just say, shooting fireworks, aiming at your property, and I know that this is going to do some type of damage, or at the same time, if this is going to do some type of damage out of me not understanding this, this is going to be immoral, and then at that point I'm going to have to repay you.
Oh, okay. So, are loud parties every night immoral? Like, where's the
Yeah, yeah, loud parties could be very much immoral because if they're infringing upon other people's negative rights to like sleep or at the same time freedom of movement and these actions taking place, yes.
okay? So, why would you consider a state to be private property?
Yeah, so this is going to be like the same action of like homesteading, and multiple people can do this location. And when it comes to like the state, like United States, this is going to be like a very broad term. So each country is going to be counted as their own private property. The people inside of it are going to be able to have like homesteaded it. And then, unless if you want to go with the argument of colonization, then at that point it's going to be the Pilgrims, where they were they were actively homesteading certain actions. And then when there's conflicts that are taken, I would just go with like the principle of John Locke. If someone infringed upon my negative rights to private property and someone starts attacking me and I win the conflict, I do not have to give them more considerations afterwards.
Uh, Wait, are you a climate change believer? Just like real quick.
No, I do not care.
Oh no. Okay, you don't care about global warming whatsoever.
Yeah, I don't really care. Like this isn't applicable to like my argument.
No, no. I'm just wondering because I was going to give you I was going to give you a hypothetical in which like okay, well we have a bunch of we have a bunch of individual actors all adding CO2 to the atmosphere, which like
Um,
on the long term harms basically everybody. But like is that
yeah, which like if we're talking CO2 or at the same time like the carbon dioxide, we actually need this for the atmosphere because the trees are going to be changing this into
okay?
oxygen.
Okay, so
And
there's an
yeah,
epistemic disagreement here. So this is probably not like a
yeah.
good hypothetical to ask you about. Okay. So I guess I'm gonna ask it. I'm gonna ask her, why should we like value ownership?
Ownership. Um, this is going to be on the individual level. Like I'm going to say ownership is going to be valued because if we do not have any type of ownership, then people are going to be able to tell you what to do. It's kind of like, for example, do you believe that we should tell a prostitution that they need to hook up with males and females?
No.
Why is that?
I might like just. I think if we I think we were to start telling prostitutes like who they who they could not who or who they who or they could or could not like hook up with, that would probably like massively increase affect their quality of life because they would now have like a smaller client base. And I think that they would be
Yeah.
less
So with
happy.
the
I think they'd be
ownership,
less happy, and I think happiness. And then I would say like, well, okay, well, somebody being unhappy, that'd be immoral. Somebody happy is
yeah,
moral.
with the ownership of you owning your body, if like we don't agree with ownership, then at that point, people are going to be able to tell you what to do. This is why I'm going to say ownership is valued.
Hmm. Okay, do you think there's like certain instances in where the state can take away ownership?
No.
No, you think there's no instances in where the state can take away ownership?
No, I believe that if you self-govern or at the same time if you have this action, the government should not be able to infringe upon your negative rights to the private property unless if you've been done in a moral action by infringing upon someone else. So yes, in certain cases, if you infringed, if it's just no fucking reason where the government, like under the Fifth Amendment, where eminent domain is applicable, where the government can come in and say, "Fuck you, here's some money, we're going to build a road," I find this immoral as fuck.
Okay, okay. It's gonna be a little ridiculous. So if a bunch of citizens started building a huge camp, and they called it Schauschwitz, and there was a bunch of gas chambers, and then they created like a little intelligent, and they created a service which started like tracking and identifying Jews within America. Like, do you think the government could come in and like stop that?
This is going to be infringing upon people's negative rights to private property. They're infringing upon the Jews in this situation.
How
That didn't
they're
get
not
Trump.
doing? They haven't done anything yet. Just to be clear, they haven't done anything. They're just
Yeah.
looking at them. Like they're looking at public information about Jews, and they're clicking a database. Nothing.
Oh, so they haven't done anything immoral. Have
No.
they talked about doing immoral actions?
Uh, yeah, you bet they've talked about it.
Okay, so they've talked about this immoral action taking place. Have they said that they're going to be doing this action when the camp is done?
Yes.
Yeah, there's going to be the intent to cause harm to another person's private property.
Okay. So as long as there's an intent to do cause harm with private property.
And is there's yeah,
So if there's intent to, now the state can take it away.
wait, so if there's the intent where it's going to be the action. So if we're talking about the camp, everything like this is like me putting a gun to your head and saying that I have the intent to kill you. As
Mm-hmm.
long as there is the proof of the intent and how it's going to be applicable, then yes, I'm going to say that. Unless if we're going to go into like a proper debate, and then I'm going to say no until there's going to be some type of infringement. Which, if there's going to be some type of infringement, I would have to wait until they're going to be trying to infringe upon people's negative rights. If this is on someone's private property, where like straight up, if they want to build this fucking camp and they haven't infringed upon anyone, I would not give a fuck.
Okay. Do you think there are certain instances in which the state can like tax people and that would be moral?
I agree with some taxation as long as it's to be able to protect private property.
Okay. So do you think like free school lunches for school children like a good thing?
I do not agree that it should be from like the federal government or at the same time the government. We can see how good they do it versus the privatization. If we do the privatization, whoever wants this action can pay into it. With the government, we can already look at the cases of how people get money from the federal government and then they don't do shit with it.
Do you
We
think
can look at one of the cases of $320 million to help feed children, and not even a single dime went towards them.
Okay, so I guess my question at this point is, do you think like the postal service is should be run by the government? Okay, should be run by the
No,
government? No. Okay, why not?
because when we look at like the monopoly on the U.S. Postal Service right now, they do a shitty ass job versus like FedEx and at the same time other privatized companies that are able to do it.
Okay, so you think the private market does good in every single instance?
Yeah, we can look at like the state of New York when it came to the subways. Before the government actively took over, the subway was a lot better. They're actively using the same stuff.
Do you not think there's a national security interest for the government to uh own control like the postage and like mail system, as well as just like carry out some of the base functions of government, like being like having people having a very cheap way to file taxes, and for the IRS to send tax forms to their citizens. Are you still here, or did I? Hello? Something happened? Do you not think there is a? Hello?
Really haven't attacked his point. I have no problem with typically I like people attacking my points, and it shows how consistent I am. I have debated a lot of cool, like famous people. I wouldn't say cool,
Oh my gosh.
Parker,
Oh, here. What the fuck happened?
Dean, and stuff like that.
Bro, I thought my internet got shut off or some shit.
Mm.
I think you
Did you
ran.
hear?
What?
Yeah, easy debate. Did you hear what I said at the end of
No,
it?
no, I didn't. You just were like silent for.
What part was the last part you heard from me?
The last part I heard was me asking a question.
What was your question?
Do you think there's like a national security interest in the government running like the postage service, and that uh, just like for the core function of government, like being able to citizens be able to file taxes for very cheap, if not free, via some sort of like postal service?
When it comes to taxation in the first place, the postal service, or at the same time as that, this can be done with like internet. You can file W-2s online. When we're talking about like postal services, I would just find this very immoral because they have a monopoly on the system in the first place. With them having a monopoly, this isn't going to let private businesses, which you already agreed that you like free market, right?
Yeah, I generally like free market. Well,
Okay,
well,
so
it
if someone
depends what you
owns a
mean by free. I'm sorry, it depends.
yeah, if someone owns a monopoly of a market, do you believe that any other business can get inside of it?
Generally, no.
Okay. When it comes to U.S. Postal Service, did you know that they're the only ones that can actively put stuff in your mailbox?
Yes.
Okay. So this is going to be them having a monopoly on the market. If like FedEx, Amazon, or let's just say Amazon all of a sudden went to like a postal service where you're able to mail whatever the fuck because they have drones now. This would actually help the market when it comes to this aspect because it would be a cheaper cost instead of doing what you have to by buying like a stamp or at the same time paying the fees for how heavy the package is because they're going to have to compete with each other.
Yeah, but the U.S. Postal Service will always be cheaper than Amazon, or almost always. Just
Wait, if you're saying cheaper, but at the
by the
same
nature
time,
of having a progressive tax system, the cost per if to mail a letter to the IRS or like file your taxes is always going to be cheaper. I think it's 79 cents, 78 cents. That's always going to be
wait,
cheaper than
but
if a private business
that's
did it.
that's not the point I'm getting to. When it comes to like some people, they value time of how quickly a package can get to another location. Do you disagree with this?
I'm sorry. Can you repeat that just real quick?
So some people value time when it comes to like certain packages. If I mail you in this hypothetical, let's just say a ice cream, and the U.S. Postal Service takes 2 fucking weeks, and then if FedEx was able to get in this market, it can get done within a day. and they have it as a cheaper cost, and it will be in your mailbox by the time you wake up. It won't be unfrozen or whatever the fuck. Would you say in this situation it would be okay for FedEx to be able to do this? Which FedEx did in the past, but the U.S. Postal Service went in and completely said this is false. You shouldn't be able to do this action, and completely started shutting the market down for this action.
Yeah, I think in this case there's like a national security interest as well as an interest for and like I think there's actually a very clear national security interest in the United States controlling the postal service, as well as like a very clear interest in making sure every taxpayer has the option to file tax as cheap as possible through the federal government. And so I would say it's a moral.
Wait,
I'd say it's a moral good because it helps with the core essential functions of our government.
wait, it would be a neutral because if they want to do this in other ways, they can. You can do this online. You can do this
But they
in
wouldn't
other
be able
aspects.
to. They wouldn't. Okay. Well. Yeah. Obviously, there's like old people who could just can't. No. There. I'm just saying. Um. I think inherently there's like inherently because of like the way progressive tax system works, you're always going to get like a cheaper price at the point of sale for shipping your mail when
Would you
when
be
the
okay with the
government funds
negative
it.
tax?
Negative tax?
Yeah.
What do you mean by that?
Yeah, so like let's just say that this package is worth like $100. If it was like 20 cents to send this, like it would be some form of a negative tax.
This package is worth $100 and it's 20 cents to send it.
Yep.
I'm sorry, I'm not really getting the concept.
Okay. So it's gonna be like the worth of the package.
Also, sales tax.
Yeah, it would be like the sales tax instead of it being like some other type of taxation.
Yeah, I'm not against consumption taxes. No.
Okay, so instead of us having like a postal service, could we not switch to other programs or other companies that are able to do this at a cheaper cost? Would you say?
Cheaper costs. I don't think cheaper costs is the goal. I think the goal is low price at point of sale.
Wait, I would say cheaper costs because if we're talking about like the libertarian take, I have a problem with our taxation going to like these types of actions, like most social programs and
Okay.
like certain actions
Well,
of this.
when I think of like what's the government want? The government wants to be able to tax its citizens. How's it going to do this? Has to send out forms of mail. Uh, Therefore, like fundamentally, it's going to need some sort of
Not
very
true
cheap
because you
way
can
to
go,
file your taxes, which means you want lowest cost at point of sale. So I mean,
yeah,
I
or
think
the
when
cheapest.
it comes to outcomes, not I don't think the outcome we're all looking for is always lower cost of business operating. I think sometimes you're
I
just
would
looking for lower cost at point of sale.
I would disagree because I would just give you in this hypothetical or this situation where we could do this inside of your local town, or even if you're not closest to your local town or whatever the fuck, and you're in the middle of the woods, whatever the fuck, living off the grid, and you are getting no type of money, then at that point that's perfectly fine. But let's just give this hypothetical where someone's inside of a city. Yeah, you can just go to your local fucking court, or at the same time other
Wait,
situations to
Loki,
be able to
I have a
protect
question. Does your system recognize economic harm?
economic crime. What do you mean by this?
Economic harm.
Economic harm. Yeah, what do you mean by this?
Like, do you think it would be like even if like a group of people have infringed on property, like that's okay, sure, they've infringed on property, the act of removing them would do more economic harm than good. Do you like recognize that kind of harm?
Yeah, I wouldn't care if they infringed upon the negative rights of my private property in the first place. I have no problem with removing them to the extent of unaliving them if this is the only means of removing the person. I wouldn't care about the economic aspect. I only care about the right aspect.
You don't care about the okay, okay, wait,
Yeah, because in this
what is harm
hypothetical,
to you? What's harm?
the harm is gonna be someone in this aspect of like private property, someone that should not be in this location.
Do you think
The
you can
harm is
do
gonna be the
do you think you can do harm to people by enforcing a law? Do you think wait, and
enforcement.
yeah.
Yes, in certain cases. If like forcing the law is for me to be able to unalive someone that comes onto my private property, this is going to be harm on the person that I have no moral consideration for.
Okay, so do you not think illegal immigrants aren't illegal immigrants like on like private property of businesses and other people working jobs?
Wait, but that's not the aspect that I'm arguing for. Them infringing upon the negative rights of the private property in the first place. Yes, the businesses might be able to do a certain action, but with them infringing upon like the negative rights of the land of the people in this aspect is going to be the immoral action. We should remove them from
Okay,
it.
so okay, wait. So the United States as a state, that the state is that is private property.
Yeah,
Okay, so all land of the United States is private property of the people of the
yeah,
United
it's
States.
private property to United States. It's not for
So
Mexico
this
or
see
at the same time Russia.
this almost seems socialist, but
No,
I know
socialist is it.
I know. It just
Yeah,
it vibes. Okay. Uh, so if this is if we're kind of treating this like a household, could we not say, oh well, mm, okay, let's say like 60% of the population votes like, well, I kind of think we should be able to play really loud music all the time, 24/7. Like, why not?
yeah, this would be the immoral action. Like people can apply for like people can put in immoral laws and which I would go against.
But it's a private property of the collective at this point, right? So
Wait, if it's private property of the
you've
collective,
said
even if it
you've
yep,
literally said the state,
yep,
the United States is the private property of the
yep.
collective. So it is up to collective decision on what goes on in there, and
Wait,
basically whatever goes on in
uh
there.
I didn't say it was up to the collective for like the decisions.
Okay, so who's it up to then? This is private property.
Yeah,
Who owns it?
yeah. Yeah, I would just say when it comes to the typical situation, first, when it comes to private property, this is going to be owned on the individual level. So for me, my land that I own is going to be owned by me. And then if we go up to like the extreme in my situation, this is going to be the person that's going to be in charge over like the situation of protecting private property. So in this situation right now, it's going to be applicable to Donald Trump. So with the situation being applicable, he's going to be enforcing the private property to be able to protect it.
Okay, he's protecting the private property of individual citizens.
Yeah, this is going to be protecting private property across the board.
Okay, just the entire state. Okay,
Yeah,
so I'm sorry, I don't really feel like I got like a clear answer on like who owns the United States.
yeah. The United States isn't owned by like an individual. I'm saying that the private property of the United States is so. The United States is private property, right?
Mm-hmm.
With the action of private property, there's going to be multiple people that own this property. It's not just one person.
So it's collectively owned.
Not collectively, because if it was collectively owned, people would all have equal say in the situation. When it comes to like your land, you can have say what happens in your
Well,
land.
it's
So
collectively
like
owned via like a representative government, whatever, right?
to the extent, unless if like the let's just say like the government was doing immoral actions, then at that point we should be able to get rid of them because they are not upholding the private property aspect of it.
Okay, well,
So let's just say in this,
I think when you establish United States as a piece of private property that is collectively owned, and you've now like you've now inherently subjugated certain people to like the will of the collective.
I completely disagree because if the like collective people all of a sudden wake up tomorrow and say, "Hey, we want your piece of land," I would find this immoral.
Okay, wait. So, just a second. Do you think like do you think 4-year-olds should be able to say, well, I'm an individual, I'm rational,
No, 4-year-olds
I
can't give true informed consent unless if you're saying in this
okay.
hypothetical, they're at the
What
threshold of
age do you think? Okay, do you think a 12-year-old can just say, well, I don't
nope,
agree. I was born I was born to this country. I don't have to agree with the laws. I'm just
nope.
no.
12-year-old cannot get true informed consent. The
What
parents have the obligation to be able to protect them. The threshold I've like figured out so far is roughly around 18, 19.
Okay, so 18. Okay, so do you think
18, 19, roughly.
yeah, you think an 18-year-old can say, okay, well, I've been born into this society. I have I there's I have zero agreement, or I never, nobody ever asked me to sign any sort of contract to live in this society, and then like be and then say like, okay, well, I'm no longer subject to the rules of this collective.
There's going to be like, so did they
I feel like
just
this
turn
is a fundamental like argument of ANCAP too.
Yeah, this is a fundamental argument of ANCAP, which I'm not, but like I can still argue from ANCAP. So when they turned 18, did they say right away that they do not agree with society?
Yeah, they disagree completely.
Okay, cool. So then at that point, they could be able to remove them from the private property of this location, or at the same time, they could be able to use their private property and not infringe upon the others. And then they can just homestead their one piece of land.
Oh, so the government gives them land.
No, so if no, so like let's just say in this hypothetical, this person just turned 18, they have a piece of property, let's just say fucking 20 acres or whatever the fuck. Cool. Then they can't infringe upon like the rest of the land unless if they agree to the certain type of rules in the situation or if they
Wait,
want
do
to
you
be able
think
to do this.
individual people with their own property can remove themselves from the collective of the state?
Uh collective of the
Yeah,
state if they
like
don't
okay,
agree
yeah,
to.
this is this somebody. Okay, so let's pretend I live at my house, and I'm like, okay, I don't agree with the rules of society. On my house is no longer subject to the rules of Wisconsin, the rules the rules of my county, the rules of my city, or the rules of the U.S. It's its own state now. Think that's
It's its own state.
you think that's something people should be able to do? I mean, this should check out completely under your system, correct?
Yeah, this would have no problem, but then at this point they can't use like the public roads, they cannot leave from their private property.
Mm-hmm. Oh, so you're saying you have to go through like an immigration checkpoint?
Say what?
You're telling me you'd have to go through an immigration checkpoint?
Yeah, they would have to go through some type of checkpoint, or at the same time, they would have to go with this
Does that
because once they turn
is this
18,
not infringing on
uh,
people's right to move?
no, so their freedom of movement is going to be to their private property. If we're talking about if they agree to like this type of private property for like the libertarian take when it comes to like the NAP every action like this wouldn't be like
But it
the
wouldn't
freedom of
it wouldn't
movement.
have to pay taxes though.
Yeah, they would
So
have to if they
okay,
want
so
to come.
you think that like entire states could just succeed if they wanted to?
Yeah, yeah, Texas can do this right now as it is.
Okay, I inherently think that's absurd. Okay.
Wait, can Texas not exceed right now?
Succeed? No, they're. I mean, it's illegal. They couldn't do that. I mean,
Yes, they can.
if Texas started to succeed, I would call Sherman from the grave, and I'd make sure they
Wait,
couldn't.
hold up a second. The Texas Constitution they can exceed.
Um, yeah, it's great for that. I'm telling. I don't. Is it legal for a state to succeed on the federal level?
Yes, it is. Texas. You can look this up.
No way. Doesn't the United States Constitution say something about like no succession?
Nope. Texas
They didn't
Constitution, and
add
at the
that
same
in.
time,
There's no way they didn't add that shit in after the Civil War. There's no way they didn't.
no. You can look at the situation of Texas. Texas can exceed from the United States.
Okay, so can states the concept of six. Okay, it says the
Succeed,
United States
not succeed.
the okay the United States Supreme Court stated that the states cannot unilaterally succeed from the union. Oh, did I fuck? Oh, I'm retarded, aren't I? Fuck you.
Yeah, it's succeed.
Fuck you. Fuck you, Hex. You're a bitch and retarded.
No, it was just your words. It's fine. It was during a debate, and I completely understand. It happened to me too in the past.
Yeah, no, typical Google shenanigans. Yeah, it doesn't. It looks like the Supreme Court says like they can't unilateral. I'm sure that means that some federal agreement has to happen then.
Yeah, this is typically going to be if like Texas feels like the federal court hasn't upheld their side of the contract,
Okay,
which I would
I
just
mean
say, yeah,
at this point, I say like this is absurd. I don't think like individual people can like start succeeding from, start succeeding from reality, and like cities can start like succeeding from states, and like
wait,
states can start
hold up a
succeeding
second.
from a
But
nation.
when we talk about the 13 colonies exceeding from like the Great Britain, this is going to be on the individual level. They started slowly from small people, and they started working their way up. This is going to be something that we could be able to use to typically overthrow, or at the same time go against something that we find immoral.
I think us succeeding in that case is for the greater good. I think when states are try to succeed or individual people try to succeed, I think that like actively damages the collective.
Wait, it could, but at the same
No,
time,
no,
it
I
can
think it directly
benefit the
does.
collective.
No, like the first thing you would see is your biggest taxpayers with the most land succeeding because they'd be able to like buy roads or buy a bunch of places and like, okay, well, I don't want to pay taxes. I'm succeeding.
Okay, so in this situation, if I give you a hypothetical, let's just say that in this situation, the federal government started to infringe and saying that people can do with their private property how they see fit. Prostitutions are required to hook up with males and females now. Fuck, everything is going to absolute hell, going against the core beliefs of like the libertarian takes. At this point, people are going to be able to go against this and say, no, fuck you, we're not going to use our private property for this action at that point, and this is how we're going to be able to overthrow it. in like the situation of like how I see
Well,
the government,
in your situation, the like 60% of the nation could just like probably succeed at like this is stupid because this means like minor disagreements within our democracy could just lead to people completely ignoring laws.
wait, yeah, I would just
Yeah,
say when it
this
comes
is
to like,
stupid.
wait,
This
hold
is
up,
I
hold
think
up.
this is fundamentally stupid. But
Wait, yeah, you're saying fundamentally stupid, but if it's coming to the aspect of like the laws, okay, cool. So then at that point, we're not going to give you like the protection of your private property. This is going to be on you, and then this might have to be some type of like situation where, cool, this is on like this private property is yours. If this burns down, fuck you. We do
yeah,
not
but
care.
Loki, as much as I hate the BBB, I don't think that gives blue states the right to just fucking succeed. Like this means that every time some sort of controversial piece of legislation is passed, the all of the red states or all the blue states would just start succeeding. And
They're
then
going to either succeed or they're going to find some type of mutual
they
agreement,
would either
which
they would just succeed and then rejoin, or like what would more likely happen is that everyone would just succeed and there'd no longer be United States. It'd just be states because everybody would be fucking pissed.
I would have no problem with this.
Okay, I think this is fundamentally just like I think this is like a degradation of like the American project and would be an end to our
Wait,
society.
American projects, even when we talk about the situation, would there not are there not states right now that could leave the United States?
Could sure, I guess it's logically possible.
Texas, the Texas Constitution, they have the rights to be able to
Yeah,
remove
okay, in their
themselves.
constitution, but they still need some sort of federal approval. And
Wait,
to be fair, I think if Texas tried to succeed, I think Sherman would rise from the grave and they would be in big trouble. I don't think.
but even with the situation that's applicable when we're talking about like states and at the same time the people inside of it, if they're talking about private property, I value private property above all. If people are infringing upon the private property, yes, I believe that you should be able to remove your private property or at the same time be able to get your private property out of that location that you do not give true and full consent for the action.
Mhm. So do you think an illegal immigrant that bought land can just succeed right now?
So a legal immigrant wouldn't have like the option of buying land that they do not have a moral to in the first place.
You don't think so at all?
No, not at all.
Do you think that means the children of illegal immigrants are also like invalid? Or
Yeah, I do not care. That's going to be more on the emotional side.
oh really?
I
Okay,
have
you
something
don't
about
care.
yeah,
You think they have violated the property and so like now they're
yeah. So their parents did the immoral action. This is going to be the neutral action of their child.
okay, so do you think birthright citizenship is immoral?
For me, yeah.
Okay, so birthright citizenship is so you would so like how far back we going so we can just like say okay, you know what? You were born you were born in 1850 to an illegal immigrant. Oof. That's tough luck there, bud.
Excuse me. I advocate for more of a system where like you have to at least do some form of like the military or something like that to be able to have like some type of citizenship.
Really? So like
And
okay,
And if we're talking birthright in the first place, like the pilgrims that came over here and homesteaded the location, they're going to own this action. And then once the Indians or Native Americans, I don't know, like the terminology because you're
is
like
are you okay with
video,
land? Are you okay with land back?
your video, yeah, you're videotaping, so I don't know what terminology you want me to use from.
Oh,
But
I
for
don't
the
care.
people
You can
that
say
are,
anything.
yeah,
You
okay.
can say anything.
So with the action that is applicable with them homesteading this land, anyone that is connected to that, I would just say that there has to be some type of connection to it. If your parents did an immoral action, this wouldn't give you like the obligation of like the land.
Okay. So you don't think like Native Americans have like a moral obligation to the land?
No, the Native Americans have obligation to like where they homesteaded, which I would just say where United States, certain actions that United States did was immoral, but there was an agreement between the Native Americans. They would have this, and like both sides agreed. This is why they have like they have the res where they don't get taxed or anything like that at all on the res.
Okay. But do you think like do you think like Mexico has obligation to the land that the United States stole?
No, Mexico, no, because after we bought the land.
Okay, so after we bought the land, so now we no longer have the so,
Yep.
okay. And but you would be like okay if like maybe some stolen land back in some cases?
Stolen land. This is typically like it comes down to the context. So this just saying this hypothetical, there's a conflict between us, right? And that you infringed upon me first by destroying my land, everything like this, and I conquer you by like the second that you infringed upon like my NAP, I wouldn't give you more consideration afterwards. So then this land that people typically call stolen, I wouldn't count this as stolen land. I would count stolen land is if you have a house, I come on and say fuck your house, destroy your house, and then just take the land completely over.
Mhm. So I just want to be clear here. So you be okay if wait, this is this is ultra stupid. People could succeed from there. I'm assuming like you're saying people have individual contracts with like their state, county, city, and then probably finally the federal government.
Uh, yeah, if we want to
So
count
so
county,
somebody could like succeed from their city, succeed from their county, succeed from their state, and then only be subject to federal laws.
so if we're talking secede, I would just say yeah, it would be them seceding from their state laws and just applying to like the federal one in like this hypothetical.
Okay, why wouldn't everybody just immediately do that? That sounds
Yeah, which I would have no problem with
okay. Well, I think I think that's a
because
good
with the
place to end this debate.
no,
uh,
because with the federal law, I would just say the federal law is going to value private property. The action of this is going to be just getting rid of the states and just having a simple federal law where it says, yeah, we're going to protect private property, and all police, everything like this is going to have to just follow this one simple rule.
okay, well, I'm pretty satisfied with this debate. If you want to schedule something else, like we totally can. But
Yeah, if you would like to schedule something, and can you send me a video of this debate? I have no problem with
sure,
it.
of course.